Hey, single moms, single mummies. I have a question for you. Is it possible? Okay, so then tell me yet that I'm live. So, okay, single moms, I have a question for you. I just was making sure that we are live, but I have a question for you. Is it possible for you to rewire your brain after a crisis, after a grief, after a loss? Is that really possible? Well, let me tell you, with me and with my coach, Ioana, Ioana, she know that is possible. And today she's going to be talking about how possible that is and be able to give you some steps as to how you can make it possible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce her to you today. And she's just going to tell us a little bit about who she is. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of this conversation because you know everything that I like to do. I'm a loud screamer and this information is good. So I want you, single mom, to pay attention to what it is. And if after you have any question, just go ahead and comment. But at the end, we will be providing information so that you can contact our coach, which is Ioana from Elite Coaching. So, Ioana, let me shut up because you know that I can talk forever. It's all yours. So tell us who you are, Ioana. Tell us more about you before we get into this stuff.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you so much for reaching out, for inviting me. I'm very excited to talk to you about this amazing topic of rewiring our brain for happiness after big losses and grief. So to me, I was born in Romania, in Bucharest, and I've left my home country when I was 18 years old to come to Switzerland to study. I studied social work. I've been working in that area for almost 20 years now. And it is here that I've met my husband, who is also a social worker. And we started a family. We were together almost 10 years. I have 2 kids. I have a daughter and a son. And 8 years ago, he got a cancer diagnosis and he died after 7 weeks after we found out. And our kids were really small back then. My son was just 1 year old and my daughter was 3.5 years old. And I was just 1 week of turning 30. So I was a widow at 29 years old. And I lost the love of my life, the man that I thought was an amazing father, partner. I lost a part of my identity. I lost a part of my home in Switzerland. He was my home, what we built together in 10 years. I lost so much joy. I lost hope. I thought that for my kids now growing up without a father would be, it would parent died. I thought that he was the more calmer one, the more educated one. It was a huge shake in my identity. And after he passed, I tried for years. I just tried to work hard. So I just tried to work double the place. I studied, I made a master's. And after 4 or 5 years of just working really, really hard, I had a burnout. So I crashed basically. I went to the doctors because I could not sleep for 3 days in a row. And I said, give me just some pills. I need something to sleep. Like I cannot function. I need to sleep. Yeah. And it is then where my doctors told me what I need is a break. They will not give me pills, sleeping pills. I need to take a break. And I was very scared that they would take my kids away. I was scared that I failed somehow at being a good single parent. And I told them immediately they cannot, this is not an option of me to going to some clinic or anything. I need to be at home with my kids. And after this big burnout, it showed me that I cannot continue to do the work of 2 alone. Because what I was trying was being mom and dad. I did not know what to do else. So I just took on everything that my partner did. I took on myself. And I did not delegate almost anything. So I was really swamped under work. And this burnout was like the turning point. I thought that I do not, time does not heal anything. I was 5 years in my journey as a widow. I still felt hopeless, depressed. I felt like not any man could compare to my husband. I was
Right.
thinking like I fail and found love. I don't
Yeah.
find a second daddy for my kids. Everyone said, oh, you should, because it would be so good for your son to have a father figure. I said, is nobody at my door? Like I'm looking, but like, and um, it was the pressure to find someone. It was really, really a very, very dark time, I think. And how did I get out of it? Because in that moment, I realized time does not heal my wounds.
Yeah.
If I don't change anything, I will be a widow for the rest of my life in my soul. Like I would be sad and grieved for the next 40, 50 years, how long I will
So
live.
what was it that actually got you to say something have to change? What was it? What was that moment that said I have to change something to make this happen?
So
What was it?
this burnout showed me that just me working harder was not the solution. I had to rethink how, and I did not like, I was waiting for a partner or someone to save us. I was waiting for someone to come and say, oh, I see you, you're amazing. Let's have this beautiful rainbow family. I see, like, and there was no savior,
Yes.
nobody. And then I said,
Yeah.
it's gonna be me. Like, okay, the way I did it until now, it didn't work. I will have to save myself.
Yeah.
So what do I do now? What can I do differently? And I started to look for ways to do this differently. I said, I don't see any single parents that are happy.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the news you see, oh, single mom, and the kids are like, drug dealers and whatever, and like the boys are like in the all this negative news I was seeing, and had a lot. I said, no, there has to be people who do this in a different way. I'm gonna start to look for people who are
Mhm.
single parents, single moms
Yes.
and dads, and who are happy and who
That's
are
right.
thriving. I'm gonna
That's
learn
right.
from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it was this quest of, I have to do something different. It's not working what I did. Hard
Yeah.
work exclusively is not going to give me that thriving, happy life that I was longing for me and my kids.
Yes.
And that was the starting point. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand that part because that was really depressing for me the first time. I mean, mine was a decision to be a single parent the first time. I was a single parent twice. And the first time I would go around and there was a lot of people just having a conversation, the single parents are sad and whatever. And I was having a blast with my son. I dress him up the same color like me and I did all kind of stuff. We had fun. But that's not what I was getting from outside. All the people that were not single parent, that's not the information I was getting from them.
Yes, I think that you had a really good interview that I was looking in before we got in about, I think, setting expectations and so on. You talk about this in some interviews that you did. And I realized that the expectations were all negative and depressing. Like, uh, even if, and they said, oh, you're a strong person. I said, I don't want to be strong. I want to be happy. Like,
Oh,
I don't
you
want to,
said that.
I want to be thriving. I don't want to be the one who you put all these tasks on my back and I grind every day for 14 hours. I want to be happy and thriving. And that was the moment where I started to look for ways to get different, to do this different, this single parenthood, and I said, I want to do is look in a different way, and I want to do it in a good way, positive, and re- attempt the impossible. It seemed for me
Y-
to be a
Yeah,
happy single parent at that
yeah,
moment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I can definitely understand that because there was not of standards, a lot of goals, a lot of people to look at because the people that were doing a good job, nobody was talking about them. Because I know that every time I was around somewhere, I had my job, I finished college and all that while I was a single parent. And when people will look at me and how I was so happy with my kid and whatever, they was like, "Who's your husband?" and whatever. I'm like, I don't have a husband, and they were wondering why I was happy and it was silly and all that. I'm like, I mean, I have a reason to be. My kids make me happy. I have a purpose, right? And a lot of people could not get that. They could not connect that part because I was supposed to be unhappy because I didn't have a man.
Disconnect.
And I'm not saying that we don't want a man. I mean, I'm married now. I have a man, right? But at that time, I was happy because, I mean, I was with my kids. It wasn't like, like what you said at the beginning, you know, many people are waiting for a savior. They're waiting for that next man that is going to take them away from the situation, or a high value man to just pay all my bills and all that kind of stuff, instead of doing what you going to be suggesting that they do. And let's start with this one. So how can a single mom or parent rewire their brain? How does that begin?
Yes. So I think the main takeaway would be that you need to prioritize actively making positive highlights and emotions in your day. Just like you clean your teeth, you need to look that you have positive emotions during your day. And you can do this actively without anyone coming to make them with you. And there are studies that show that these positive emotions have an undoing effect on stress. And when I heard about this, I said, yes, because I've been stressed for so many years. I need a lot of undoing. So how can I start doing that? And, there was a study that showed showing kids a funny video before a mathematics test increases their performance as in comparison of them just being stressed out or not showing anything.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, okay, but how can I do this? I will have to carefully put along the day that I have happiness moments. So this shift, okay, in the morning, I used to be so stressed to get my kid out to school. I went to work. The morning was one of the stressful, like, let's do this quicker. We need to do this, all this stress. And just started there to always listen to a happy song.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy, remember this song from Will Ferrell? And just listen to one happy song. This is 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy to clap along. Exactly. So this is only 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes. 3 minutes, because I needed efficient methods. I did not have time, for go 5 hours to a spa. Now I do, but then I didn't. So 3 minutes in the morning, every morning with my kids, this was more important than cleaning their teeth, was to have a happiness moment before we all went to school and work. And this started to change our whole, in 1 week, I did not shout as much as them. I was calmer, I was happier, and I did nothing in my life changed, anything else. I was still a widow, still work, still took everything. But this 3 minutes of happiness in the morning, in 1 week, I was like, okay, I want to do more of this.
Yes.
I want to do more. I was hooked on this positive,
Yeah.
And I read a lot about. Do you have this? You the way you say you already do this with your son, these happiness moments that you did.
Well, with me, I am always like this. I am always full of energy. But I had to do that because that was not something that I had when I was younger. I was very, even though I was a model, there was a lot of self-esteem issues that I had. So I decided I was going to raise my children differently. I was going to make sure that they appreciate every moment, that they were going to be grateful, that they were going to be happy and responsible. So that had to start with me. I cannot show them to do something that I'm not doing. And a lot of what I noticed, because I also coach women, and a lot of the things that I've noticed is that they're telling their children, do this, do that. I want you to be happy. I want you to be successful. But they are not doing any of that they're saying that they're promoting. So I had to be looking at me, and I have to keep that joy. So if I had like a big problem coming up, right? Like my bills or whatever, I can't pay the bill. I go take a walk. If I have to cry, I go cry away from my children. And when I finish doing that crying, I shut it off. I come back and I say, we can do this. We got this. They didn't know what I was talking. We got that. I'm like, I'm starting to play. They don't know that I have an issue, but when they think about it, with all the problems that they saw later, they're like, Mom, how did you do that? Like, really? You understand what I'm saying? So it's not about not telling them the truth, because they're gonna notice. They're not stupid. But it's about showing them that even though life can be challenging, because what you're seeing, Mom got this, because she's staying positive. She's going to drive, and she is going to drive that boat, and she's going to get you to the destination that we decided, you know.
So I think what you say there is very important. This is the part of the positive affirmation, how you talk to yourself, that voice in your head. And often it's a very critical voice that we had from our own childhood, from our own parents. It's a very high, with the women that I coach, they work and have kids. So it's a very high achieving standard qualities and so on. It is a very perfectionist voice. And there are studies to show this kind of type A behavior is one of the keys to burnout. It will lead you to burnout. This kind of always wanted to do perfection and high quality it can burn you out. And so with the women that I coach, one part is the mindset. And the second part is that you need a support system as a single parent.
Yeah.
And for me, for example, for a few years, I did not even have maid services. And I said, I cannot objectively do all the tasks alone. This is not, take the emotion away from them.
Yeah.
I have 2 kids. I have work. Like a stay-at-home mom does all this work while she has a lot of work when she stays at home, a lot of work. How do I try to do this in the evening and the morning?
Yeah.
In the weekend? How do I even try to put all these 40 hours of work that she's doing? She's working a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it until midnight. So support system. And when you're an expat parent, like you are also, you don't have family, aunties, uncles who come and take care of your kids for free. So you have to get comfortable with paid services that take care of your kids, daycare, and so on. You have to get comfortable and see the advantage of those services. Not only say, oh, my kids have to go to daycare. I love it. The people there are slept through the night. I didn't sleep the night. They slept. They are getting paid to be nice to my kids. They are getting paid to make beautiful lunches for my kids with a lot of vegetables. So love this part. And then support system, a lot of maid services, and say, housework is one of the biggest stressors for single parents. And we all feel so ashamed. Oh, I didn't get to do this. Of course you didn't. You have 3 jobs on your back. It's of course you didn't get to do this. You also have your kid, the relationship, yourself to take care. Of course you didn't. So I got maid services. I got someone to help me in my house and delegate housework. The last thing that I got actually during the pandemic year, because she couldn't come, was getting a laundry service. So they have a pickup and delivery laundry service at the door. It makes me so happy when this laundry comes back, and the money can never explain how much happiness and how much time it saves me to not do the laundry at week. It saves me up to 7 hours weekly. 7 hours.
Yeah.
So I got to put in my coaching for women to say, don't try to do it alone. You can't, like, this is objectively not possible. You also want to cook dinner, original dinner, go, fresh lettuce and so on every second day. Who's going to do the grocery shopping every second day for this fresh stuff? So you have a lot of expectations.
For me, we were never home. I was always having fun with my kids outside. And that's one of the things that I think that they enjoyed the most as well. Doesn't matter what, we work hard, we play hard. And that is something that I know that work with my kids a lot, because we were always having some kind of fun. Whenever I had them doing like schoolwork or whatever, I was like totally like, you have to finish this. But I always compensated them. So just like how you say and how you delegated all of these things, I love the word, because a lot of people don't think about that in their own life. There can be project managers. They can be doing all kind of these businesses, but they don't think, Do what you did at work, do it with your own life. Delegate, delegate, delegate. They don't think about that, right? So then they're like, oh, me and my children are not having fun. This is boring. We can't go on vacation. Oh, we went on vacation. Oh, we did stuff together. Okay. Because you have to think about that. How are you going to delegate? And I didn't feel bad because I paid someone to take care of my kids. It is what it is, right? I wanted to, be a professional mom. I want them to be successful. So you have to be able to manage
Yeah.
those things, right? Yeah, your turn.
I love what you said. And, I made it's exactly what you said. I made my master's. I did a master's in management in social work. I completed it last year. And I wrote my master thesis about
We gotta pause
success
on that one.
factors of huge
No,
corporations.
we gotta pause on that one. We're gonna pause. Single mom getting her stuff. Let's pause for this one because we do not give ourselves that one. Congratulations. I have to pause on that one because we work so hard at getting things and then we don't celebrate it.
So thank you.
We had to take that moment. And if you are a single mom right now and you are going to school or you're trying to achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve, take a time and celebrate every step. Pause and applaud yourself. I know it's not easy. I know it can be very challenging, but you got this. Just like Ioana did, just like I did, just like many single moms have done, you got this. So, Joanna, keep going. I just wanted to take the time to celebrate that for you. We had to do that.
This internet was overwhelmed with emotion.
I believe so. But it's okay.
So
if the world cannot stop us, the internet cannot stop us.
Yes, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. Celebrating is one of the most important things we can do. You are absolutely right, and we forget about this.
Yeah.
Even I gave the master's thesis in, and someone asked me, "How do you celebrate?" I was like, "I didn't plan anything." So we have to plan for celebrations. You're absolutely right. We have to plan this.
Yeah, I always do that.
What you said also.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Plan celebrations. You're a master of happiness. Yes.
I try to be, and don't get me wrong, I have my bad days. But one thing that I know, my bad days doesn't mean that I have to give other people a bad day. And some people believe that just because I'm having a hard time, just because I'm having a bad day, everybody have to have a bad day. That is selfish. Okay? You need to keep that to yourself and work on it. Like you said, Ioana, rewire your brain, rewire your brain. Right.
So we already said about this the way that the one thing is the mindset, like you said, rewire your brain, get out of this reaction mode into a kind of CEO mode. You are the CEO of your family, you delegate, so you have time for the big decisions that you have to make. And you have, as a single parent, you have to make so many important decisions alone. Health related, school related, you need brain power for those. So delegate as much as you can. And I love that you said that delegating is something that is crucial to have more space and time for this celebration and the highlights. Yeah. And what I was, before we got cut up, so one of the key factors for success in big corporations who need to change is this delegating, not micromanaging. So they do not micromanage. They do not make plans. It is a quote that I will say it now. Set your goals in concrete, but your ways to get there in sand. Because you need to stay agile. You need to stay flexible. And I see a lot of people trying to micromanage the day. Yeah. Oh, but I have a ritual and a routine. When you have kids, you cannot have a routine because kids have different needs every day. Yeah. Something happens at school. Yeah. They are not like little robots. You can have a structure, a big one, but not like 7 o'clock this, 10 up 7 this. This will set you up for stress.
Yes.
You need to be agile in this part.
I agree. I agree.
And
Definitely like that. And like when my
and
kids
what
have
I also
sports,
think, what we need.
when my kids have some kind of sports event,
Yeah,
because at that time it was fun. But in between that,
yeah,
people always say, how can you be so spontaneous? Because even with my children, I will be spontaneous. Sometimes I didn't have any, if something canceled or whatever, I'm like, you guys want to go to the movie, or you guys want to go to dinner, or you guys want to do this, or you guys, they were like, yeah, just, you can be spontaneous, just fill in. Don't go like,
yes,
oh, this
absolutely.
person canceled on me. What am I going to do now? No, 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 no.
But you can be spontaneous if you know, like, you need to step back. What do you want for your life with your kids? And
Exactly.
if you know you want highlights, adventure, happiness for you and your kids, every time this kind of thing happens in between, you're like, okay, I know how to fill this in. We'll
Yeah.
even chill or have an adventure, and
Yeah.
that's it. It's gonna. And you touched upon this too. Happiness is the biggest factor that will increase children's performance at school. When they have stress at home and when they have stress at school, it's then when they struggle, and it
Hmm.
goes through the whole area. They become cranky, and like we do too.
Yeah.
So they are not so different than us. You
Yeah.
just see it more often because of the grades. And increasing happiness, letting them do something they really love,
Yeah.
um, planning this like you do, like planning your highlights. This
Yeah.
will, it lifts stress off your shoulders. It makes,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of limiting beliefs, and you know about this too, in the head, like, oh, you need to work before you can have a break. You
Yeah.
need to work very hard. No, this
No.
this is maybe was relevant a
Mm.
100 years ago.
Yeah.
Our parents had to be good employers, for sure. Yes, they need
Right.
to work and be, in Romania, that was a dictator. They
Right.
were not allowed to speak up.
Right.
But now this is not a good life for them. For
Right.
our kids, they will speak up, they will be creative, they will be free in ways that we don't even
Right.
imagine. And I love that. I love
Right.
that.
Oh, but
That
somebody will say, "Oh, but we are all locked up. I don't know how to have fun with my kids." Play with them. Sit down, have fun, have card game, take a walk, go to the park. We still can do a lot of those things. So one thing about single moms, your job is to be creative. Okay,
Mhm.
we gotta
But
be creative.
like, I have a lot of compassion. Like when some mom says, "Hey, I'm just like, I cannot, don't have energy to talk, to play with my kids." I say, "Yes, you don't. Let's fill your energy cup up. Your
Mhm.
kids will survive looking at television for more hours. We need to fill your cup up first.
Right.
And if you don't like to play Uno cards, find something that you liked as a kid.
Yeah.
Not every parent liked the same things.
Right.
Like some, when we were kids, we were different too. So
Very different.
remember what you loved as a kid. Remember that and do that with your kids. Some
Yeah.
people like movie night. Some people like to be outdoors. They cannot be in the house. Everyone is different.
Right.
Remember what you loved as a kid and do more of those with your kids. So
Right.
it's not only
I
like
agree with that.
draining and
I agree with that. Yep. I agree with
it's
that.
making you happy too in this moment.
Yeah. The only thing that I want to
Yes.
make sure that they
What do you like
remember
playing?
is just don't sit down and complain about it. You're not going to fix anything if you sit down. This is not happening. That is not happening. Oh, right now we have the lockdown. No, we have that. No, there's always a solution. If you focus on the problem, it gets bigger. If you focus on the solution, you'll find something. You will have options, right?
Absolutely. This is not like what you say is neurologically studies show exactly what you say. When we think a lot of a problem, you think, oh, what this happens, it makes a lot of brain connection around that thought. So this is why it becomes bigger. So
Mhm.
it literally, your brain makes more connections around that problem. If you
Right,
do the same with some solution or something happy, something that made you feel confident, again, your brain will make more connection around that.
yeah.
And you talked about self-confidence with women, and I love that. This is a huge issue, as you know. How can you increase your self-confidence?
Mhm.
And again, you do the same thing that you do with the negative thing. Oh, was it my fault? Did I say this? How did I say this? How was I dressed? How did I look? The same thing you take and you put it on the positive part. Remember one thing that you did really well and think for 2 hours about that one thing that you think you did really well.
Yep.
Oh, so how confidently you walked in, how you were smiling, how people said, thank you so much for your competence.
Yep.
2 hours, like we did for negative thoughts. Go 2 hours around the positive thing that you did,
Yes.
and you will start feeling your confidence growing.
Yep. I agree. One thing that when I'm
So
coaching,
for you, like I wanted to ask you, because I'm always asking,
go ahead. You
I
go
wanted
ahead.
to ask you, Sandra, what do you play with your kids? What do you love playing with your kids? Because I'm always curious
Well,
for
they are not.
ideas.
They are not. They are not kids anymore. I have grown. They're gone. 28 and 21. So they are not kids anymore. I'm
Oh,
finished.
wow.
I'm done. But what I actually did with them, we will turn on the from time to time. We will turn on the when we had like I didn't. I first of all, I never had TV in my house. That was one of my rules. I did not have TV in my house. I did not want that because growing up we have TV and it didn't do anything for me. So that was one. I had my kids have computers. They all had their laptop, and we will put the music on and we will be dancing. We play charades. We go to the movie. Those are the kind of stuff that we did. But we try to find anything that have to do like we will dress up. My daughter will dress up and she will do some acting for us, and my son will be rapping and we will play that we are part of his rap group or whatever. And I'm like and we will just have fun, right? So whatever, just being crazy with them, right? Because they know that I have a serious
Yes.
side, but they know that I have a crazy, silly side too. That was me. That was what I want. So you have to decide what you want to do with your kids, right? But it cannot be all the time the same thing. Okay, you got to change it around so that they know, you can have adventure, but you also have to work hard. So in order to have that moment of adventure, you pay yourself for working hard, right?
Well, I think I have a little bit. I love television. I love iPad. I love computer. My kids
Mhm.
have doing TikTok videos, and so they are very creative and active. I
Yeah,
know what you mean. The television used to be something very passive that you were always only watching, but
right,
with computer and iPad, you do a lot of active
right.
interaction. So that's a little
Yeah.
different. Um, I think what's also very important, and we touched a little bit on this, is that no single parent should attempt to do it alone. And I think that this is a trap a lot of people do. They
Mhm.
put all this pressure and they look around. And I always ask people now that are happy single parents, how do you do it? Who does your laundry? How much do you work outside the house? Who takes care of your
Mhm.
kids when you work outside the house? Who takes care of your kids when they're sick? Who takes care of your kids when you are sick? How do you go on vacation? How are your finances? And like going deep on these questions will
Mhm.
show you that every parent that is happy had a
Mhm.
part of support. And I
Oh
think we
yeah,
do not talk
I was
enough
always clubbing. I was always at the
about the
club.
support. You are clubbing or what?
Oh, I always
Where were
every
you?
Not every Saturday night, there was my time to go dancing. I did spend time for myself. Every Saturday
Uh,
night, my kids knew that was
that,
my time to go dancing. Sundays was my kids' time with me to do whatever. Friday was party night. So we have a dedicated time, but they knew that Saturday was my day. In the days, there's in the night, I got to go for myself. So that's one thing that I know that single moms forget is putting that time aside for themselves. I had my time, so I
but
needed
who took care of your kids?
huh?
Who took care of your kids when you were clubbing? Who was taking care of
I,
them?
I pay somebody to take care of my kids, or I will have a friend of mine take care of them, somebody that doesn't go out. But there was always somebody. There was always somebody that there was.
I love this because we don't talk about this. We don't talk about we paying for people
Mm-hmm.
who take care of our kids in a good way is
Yeah.
one of the key elements so we can have space. So we need to
Right.
pay. A lot of people feel ashamed. Oh, I'm letting my kids with strangers. They're
No.
only strangers
No.
the first time. You
Yeah.
get to meet them, and they're not
Yeah.
strangers for 2 years. They're
Yeah.
just strangers the first day. So we need to talk more about how much we paid for people to take care of our kids, to do our laundry, to do the cleaning, and so on, because people don't talk about this.
Yeah. That is true. That
And
is true.
I love
It
it.
does.
My
It
kids
doesn't
they
usually come
have
up. Yeah.
out.
You're right. Go ahead.
And also what you said, it's not only one person that you rely on, you have a network.
Mm-hmm.
Because a
Of
lot of
course.
people, they say, okay, I have one auntie, and when she's sick, why is she not coming? She doesn't care about me. Like, everyone has their life.
Yeah.
Nobody has to help you. Nobody, not
Yeah.
even your parents. They also have their life. So
Yeah.
paying for someone to come, having friends, a network of people, more people to rely on, will help you have this space. You will
Yeah.
come back happier to
Mm-hmm.
spend that Sunday with your kids,
Yes.
as if you just watched Disney movies 3 days long. So I can do one day, but 3 days is too much.
But no, but I understand what you mean, because when you're thinking about it, even the coaches that I have, the people at church, they used to be like, hey, can your kids come over? And, things like that. So there was always somebody involved. Yes, you want to be careful of who you send your kids. We are not telling you, oh, just send your kids anywhere. No, of course, you got to be wise and pick the right people to be able to take care of your kids and watch over your kids. But how are you going to build them to fly if you are always cutting their wings from getting to know what's around the world? You have to allow them to be out there, get to know people, get to understand, have their own discernment. They have to build their own discernment. And if you always going to be like, I'm going to be with my kids, I'm going to protect my kids, I'm going to do this, how can they learn to deal with the people outside? That's not going to happen. So you have to be able to put them out there.
Yeah. And for me, this started even when I was with my partner. I was so happy to go away and he would take care of the kids. I never was like, oh, he's not as good as I am. No, he'll
Oh,
do great.
yeah.
I'm going to have my coffee and a work day in peace, and my toilet breaks without no one interrupting me. He will do great. So I think also a big trap for mothers, especially,
Yeah.
is they think they have to be the most important single person that can take really good care of their kids. And it's not true. We can have many people that can be very good to our kids, and very loving
Right.
and very caring. Because if something happens to me, and this is my biggest fear as a widow, if something happens to me again, and there will be orphans, I want them to be able to have good connections to other people besides me.
You just said the magic word. I had a friend that was a single mom, and I was the only friend she had. Okay. She, all the time, I try to keep trying to build that relationship with her all the time. And she's like, you are the only friend I have. You are the only person I see. You are, and I didn't understand that because I always had my kids all over. We go everywhere. And I always saw that as a problem because I thought, what if you die? What is going to happen to your children? And I will tell her, what if you die? What's going to happen to your children? And you know what? She died of cancer. Her kids
No. Oh, wow.
were left outside, nobody to help. I didn't even know that she died. I was her friend. That's how much she was so separated from the world, just doing everything by herself. And when I find out, I was calling her because I'm like, she haven't called me in a long time. 6 months later, I try to call because I was used to like calling and she don't pick up all the time. So I called and I was like, I was screaming. I said, you selfish, you haven't called me in a long time. And her daughter answered, she said, my mom is dead. I thought, no, I said, stop joking.
Oh,
You joking. She's like, no. I said, what you guys have been doing? Who is taking care of you guys? What's going on? Because there was nobody. She had no community, nobody around. So when I told the girl, I said, we need to see each other, right? When I go see her, the people from the apartment where they were living didn't even know that the woman had died because, like, oh, they were underage. The girl did not know who to turn to. And she was living in that place. She got herself a job. She had to drop school and started doing all that because if she had told them their mom had died, they would have thrown her out of the apartment. This is the kind of stuff that we need to think about as parents. We need to prepare children. So I always prepare my children just in case I'm gone, just in case I'm dead. They used to love it. They hated hearing that. But I was like, this is what's going to happen. I want to raise you right because in case something happened to me, I don't want people to separate you. I want to do this. So I always raise them like if I wasn't around. That's how I raise my kids because it can happen. You think you're here forever. You are not here forever, but you have to live like if today is your last day, but you have to give your children, it's a combination of letting them know I might be gone, but at the same time, let's be happy as we can while we can. That is what I saw. And it was so painful to see that, but it was an example of what not to do.
Yes. But I think, when a single parent, you are so in a trap of isolating yourself because it takes energy. And this is also, people say, just ask for help. It is really hard to ask for help when you are burned out and depressed. This is why it's so necessary to take breaks.
Yep.
Because it takes energy for you will get.
Yeah.
People will not just say yes to you at any time. So that energy that it takes to prepare for a no, this is why a lot of parents do not ask for help because they don't have the energy to deal with the no. So I think that in coaching parents, and especially single parents, we need to emphasize not only the mindset, but the actual support help that they need to have.
Yeah.
You need to have people so you can get out, or you go to therapy, or you go to see your friends, or you go to the club. You need to have more than one person to be involved. And, like you said, there used to be like this village. You need to buy yourself the village if you don't have it.
Yes.
You don't have your parent. You need to buy. Yes, it is, it is. Yeah, it is really hard, but I think this is very important to help implement support for parents, for sure.
I agree. But yeah.
Oh, that is very emotional story, wasn't it?
But yeah, that was, and
But I know
go ahead.
I did the same like you did, for my kids. They wanted to know, Mom, if you die, what will happen to us? And they say, look, I only know 1 or 2 steps that can happen. I cannot know your whole life. I can only look a little, but I talked to my sister in Canada. I talked to my parents. These are the friends that we have in Switzerland that will take you in immediately.
Yep.
You know them. You've slept at their houses. You know the kids. You know these people. These are the people that will take you in and will look for you. I cannot tell you what will happen. I cannot promise you anything. I can only tell you I have people that will stay in contact with you, will take care of you the first moments. And in the long run.
Right, but because you built that, because you did that. So in my first situation, nobody was around. Cancer is not something that happened overnight. So it was about building that community, even if you it's going, right? But building that community of saying, okay, so what's going to happen to my kids, right? So you might not know the future, but you know your present, and your present is what prepare you for your future. And your kids, if they are the most important thing, just like you said, they're going to stay with this person. You knew who will be able to jump in because you build that relationship. You can't just expect people to jump in when you didn't have a relationship with anybody. You have to build a relationship with people.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. But I think that this is why we advocate and we do what we do. Sometimes you cannot do it alone out of your own mind. Maybe you had very critical parents. They say, oh, you need to just work harder, shake it off, be positive. And that's a little bit toxic. That is toxic. When you're struggling and someone is coming and say, be grateful and positive without helping you,
Right.
That's something they do for themselves, not for you.
Yeah,
So you need
exactly.
to search for someone who is supporting you.
That's right.
It's supporting you with positive thoughts. It's your cheerleader, and
Mhm.
not pushing you on, but really supporting you with positive, is a positive mindset that you have the tools that you need. You can learn them. You learn them to have a thriving, happy life. Like you said, plan for highlights, plan for adventures, make them like teeth cleaning every day, something that makes you happy, um, and really make this a high priority of yourself. Yeah.
That's right. Well, this was definitely we did talk about a lot of stuff. I didn't even remember that story about my friend, but it came out today because of the conversation that we are having. So I just want to say thank you. This was really, really informational, very powerful. Thank you for sharing your heart with us. But just in closing, I would like for you to be able to do some final thoughts and then tell us where other moms that want to get together with you, how they can find you.
Yes, I think there is a quote that really spoke to me, and is many people would like life to be like a train to get you from A to Z, but often life is like a sailboat, and you need to learn to adjust your sails, make some carves to go to your it's about to learning how to sail and
Yep.
navigate life.
Yep. Hello.
And take
Can
it
you
your goal.
can you repeat that? We just got choked. I want to make sure that we got that last part
And,
together. So go ahead and repeat that part.
so I said that a lot of people wish that life would be like a train to directly get you from A to your goal to Z. But life is like a sailboat rather. You need to adjust your sails against the wind to still reach to your goal. And you can learn this. This is something that you can learn how to do. And I'm here if anyone needs the support to learn these skills, to create the life they love, even as a single parent.
Yeah. So where do they see you? Where do they visit?
So, yeah, so where you can find me is on Instagram. I have Elitecoaching.ch. I curate these high premium coaching methods for parents, especially single parents. And you find me on Facebook under the Thriving Working Parents group. And I share that all these methods and knowledge and skills that you can implement to elevate happiness, success, and just have a thriving life, starting exactly where you are.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And okay, so if you are an expert in a particular area or you have a message for single parents, go ahead and get in touch with me. Visit me on Instagram at like in vivo life, as just like the title that you see on this YouTube, or send me an email to info@singlemom.today. Because as I say, today is the only day that matters. Yesterday is already gone. Tomorrow is not even here, but today is all that matters. So choose your path. Okay. Anyway, Sandra Graves here saying goodbye to you guys. Thank you, Ioana. I love you, Ioana. I hope we do this again, Ioana.